What is going on? What is going on? We are finally getting some combine stuff today. The tight ends will be out on the field. Tomorrow is the big day with the wide receivers, running backs, and quarterbacks. I mean, if any of them are left to test, because it seems like every 2 minutes we get a report saying somebody's not going to be testing. But we're going to do a startup mock draft. Today, we're going to have rookies in it. When you're actually in the draft, if you hit the little rookies only button here, that's how you'll actually hit the rookies. But you guys can see the scoring format on the screen there. It's just a Dynasty Superflex startup mock draft. It's going to be 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, 1 Superflex, obviously, 1 tight end, and then we'll have some bench positions, 12 rounds. We'll go through this just to give you guys an idea of some Dynasty talk, and we'll talk through some rookie stuff and combine stuff. And yeah, should be a lot of fun. This is an exciting time of the year. I feel like people like Pete in the chat here says he took a little bit of break from fantasy football. Can't wait to see this draft. I feel like the NFL scouting combine is usually the time that people kind of come back to the Dynasty landscape because free agency is starting soon. The prospects are out working out and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. And like you were saying real quick too with what did you mention right before that? Because I actually had some input.
Something about the draft. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, specifically, if you are on Sleeper, the reason why you want to search up by rookies only is because it hasn't been a while where they've been populated into the mock draft pool. So make sure if you want to draft Gen T, if you want to draft McMillan, etc., you do search by the rookies only tab. Reason being, like I said, they're probably not going to show up in the spots that you would expect in the overall board. So in order for it to not skew the overall results, just make sure you click that. That's what I wanted to add because it's pretty informative.
Yeah, for sure. We still got 4 spots left in the draft, and then we'll get this thing going. We'll randomize the draft order. So don't worry about like team 8, team 10, or whatever. You won't actually be picking there if that's skewing your decision not to join the draft. This is Superflex. Again, I'll repeat the rules one more time. Superflex mock draft. We can do no tight end premium because I think last time we did a tight end premium of 0.5 or whatever. I'll put it in the description up here so everyone can see it. So we'll go. It's just regular Superflex, no 3RR. No tight end premium. And then it's what is a start 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, start 9.
Yeah.
Start 9. So it's a little bit more of a moderate, shallow, weak, whatever pool. Announcement as well. Danny and I have been discussing this behind the scenes. You guys want to get in the league with us? It's coming up very soon. Probably once we turn into the calendar of March, we will be doing a brand new listener league that you guys can join. If you're wondering, kind of details, it'll probably be kind of like a middle stakes entry fee to get in. And then we'll also have
like $100?
Yeah, somewhere between 100 and 250 or whatever. We usually vote on it once people are actually in the league. We'll have 2 years buy-in up front as well, like we always do. It'll be super flex because we don't really play 1 quarterback leagues and all that kind of stuff. So, do you see the domain live league videos? Think we could do some of those? FSC Discord been quiet. Honestly, I've tuned into their live streams. I don't exactly know what the premise of it is. Do you know what it is?
I'm not 100% sure. I can talk to Avery though.
Yeah, I think what they're doing is streaming listener league drafts. Are they not? And like kind of commentating on them. Is that what's happening?
Oh, so basically like if a league happens in their Discord, they'll just like live commentate it. Okay.
Yeah. I think people are doing fast drafts live from their Discord. You could let me know, Jordan, if that's what's happening. Correct. Yeah. Okay. So at first I thought they were just joining a bunch of leagues. I'm like, I don't have the bandwidth to join.
Yeah, no, I was going to say that.
We randomized the draft order. Danny's picking from the 101, 60 seconds on the clock here. Again, no 3rd round reversal. We're just doing it regular here. For those,
I finally profit off of that.
Yeah, there you go. So we got it started. Danny's on the clock here at the top. Chan is saying ew because he's picking 112. And I think they will be participating the last one. Okay, yeah. So the domain guys are doing that. That's definitely a good idea. I mean, I don't want to just straight rip off their idea if that's something they've been doing for a while, but we could definitely potentially coordinate that with people who are getting into leagues together. We could maybe talk about that, but we'll definitely do some more coverage of our own listener league.
I almost did, Pete. Heavily considered it.
Yeah. It's a drawing for Flock subs only using code domain. Okay. Yeah. Like, again, I'll talk. We could talk to Avery behind the scenes of it. He might just be like, hey, let's, something we do. We don't really want to steal their idea if that's something that they've made popular on their channel.
Yeah. Don't want to step on anyone's toes.
But yeah, so first 2 picks going off the board as per, I would say, usual. I mean, anywhere between Allen, Daniels, and Lamar is usually the first 3 players off the board. And for me, I don't know how you have it ranked, but for me, those guys, and on Keep Trade Cut, it's the same way. They're like about 1,500 to 1,000 more points more valuable on keep trade cut than Jalen Hurts and Joe Burrow, who are the consensus kind of 104, 105. And then you start getting into the receivers and, maybe Bowers and the tight end premium and those kind of assets. I don't usually see Hurts go over Jackson too often, but I mean, I wouldn't really blame anybody for doing it because
that's what the ADP was at going into the year. Now, obviously,
it was, yeah, because Hurts is a year and a half younger than Lamar Jackson. So if you want to use that as a tiebreaker, I mean, also too with Jalen Hurts, we know just how well constructed his team and his front office is. That could be it. Like people don't often think about kind of real football implications sometimes, but having a front office like what Howie Roseman and the Eagles are able to do, even if like, let's say 3 years down the road, like AJ Brown's no longer his number one receiver, I kind of trust the Eagles to figure out, how to continue to build around Jalen Hurts and that kind of thing.
Yeah. I will say though, for me, it's a pretty consensus top 3 tier, quarterback 1 tier here with Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Jackson and Jaden Daniels. Quarterback tier 2. Again, you guys will be able to access all of our rankings over on Flock Fantasy, but Jalen Hurts leading that tier, of course, with the quarterback 4. I actually do have Drake Maye aggressively ranked. I'm sure you already know that. He is my quarterback 5 in Dynasty. I do think whether it's a Travis Hunter, whether it's a Ted McMillan, they will be adding a big-time wide receiver, and his top 12 quarterback in points per game as a rookie, throwing to DeMario Douglas and Hunter Henry.
To me, I think that's a tad too high. I have Drake Maye ranked. I think he's like, I'd have to look right now. I think he's like my 13th overall player or something like that. There's a bunch of wide receivers and Bowers.
Between quarterback 5 and 8 is the acceptable range for me.
I have him at 7. Okay. I still have Patrick Mahomes ahead of him. I definitely still have Joe Burrow and Jalen Hurts ahead of him. I don't blame you for kind of projecting forward that he gets a receiver upgrade and that kind of thing. But what we've heard about Travis Hunter so far is we've gotten mixed reports about whether or not he's going to play DB or wide receiver. So that could take him kind of out of the mix as his number one receiver. And
the Patriots love him, eh?
We've also heard that McMillan is not going 4th overall. Like he's going to go in the mid first round by some teams. And maybe that means another receiver would go 4th overall or something like that. But I'm going to actually go with your boy here at my selection.
Yeah, I love that. I love Malik Neighbors, but over CeeDee Lamb, I think is a little bit too aggressive for me personally, especially considering we've seen CeeDee Lamb be a guy that can get 135 receptions, 1,800 yards, obviously tethered to Dak Prescott. And people might be arguing, well, if they bring in a wide receiver, they could impact the overall bottom line for CeeDee Lamb's dominance of targets. But I'd argue if it's a guy that's going to get 170 plus targets anyways, having a receiver opposite of that can take some attention away. Teams knew when they were playing the Cowboys this year, hey, listen, we got to shade over the top of CeeDee Lamb because realistically, outside of that, is Jalen Tolbert going to win his one-on-one? Is Brandon Cooks, when he was even healthy, going to win his one-on-one? Oh, shoot, now you traded for Jonathan Mingo. Let's see what he does on a one-on-one on the boundary. So I feel like if we add a wide receiver, it's going to open up this offense. And obviously, we saw from 2 years ago in 2023, when that offense is humming, like that can be a top 2 level MVP candidate. He can throw 35 plus passing touchdowns.
Yeah, I think the best example is go look at what T. Higgins does for Jamar Chase. Go look at what Jordan Addison does for Justin Jefferson. Like having an extra receiver like that is great. And I actually remember when we were going into the season from like a redraft lens, I was like, dude, I think I'm a little bit worried that CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott can't just sun run their way to like another 1,800 yard season, borderline MVP candidate caliber quarterback play. I was worried that, they would start really honing in defensively on CeeDee Lamb and having, let's say, a Mecca Ibuka or Matthew Golden or Luther Burden or Ted McMillan or something on the opposite side would really, really help out CeeDee Lamb.
Is there an option to switch it to Superflex ADP? Some people in the chat are wondering.
Oh, is it not Superflex ADP right now? Okay, I can quickly do that.
It's set there on roster, but apparently the ADP.
No, it's not actually.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll switch the ADPs around. That's my fault.
Yeah, no,
I'm not going to take full advantage of it by taking Patrick Mahomes here.
Caleb Williams is screaming to me right here.
Yeah, I'm going to do something a little different here and go with 2 non-quarterbacks for my first 2 picks. And also, Bijan is a player I just traded for yesterday in our Devi Disciples League. I don't know if you noticed what I did.
I had him.
League. You did have him at one point. Yeah, and I'm still extremely pissed at myself because last year I traded the Devi 105, which you guys were morons enough to let Genty fall there. I traded the pick assuming there was no way he was going to fall to that point. That's why I traded it.
I picked Jeremiah Smith. I think I get a pass.
Okay, yeah, you get a pass for Jeremiah Smith, but like people somebody picked who went ahead of him? There was someone stupid as hell that shouldn't have.
Carson Beck, probably.
Yeah, like Carson Beck went ahead of him or something like that. I'm like, what are we doing, guys? Anyways, yeah. I have a loaded wide receiver core. I had St. Brown, Neighbors, Olave, Godwin, Emeka Egbuka, and Io Manor coming in through the Devi pool. Like, my receiver core, and then I also had like depth guys even too, like Christian Kirk and guys like that. So I was like, dude, I don't really need Amon-Ra, and my team is ready to win ASAP. My two quarterbacks are Lawrence and Dak, who didn't obviously contribute very much last year. I have Shadur Sanders and Jackson Dart entering the NFL for my Devy pool as well, so they can be my quarterback depth going forward. So I feel pretty good about my team. I needed a hammer running back. It was something that I like couldn't get on the open market last year when I tried to trade for it. I had so many injuries. My team, I literally renamed my team to 12 days of IR because my whole team went down with injuries. Like you think about Godwin, Olave, Christian Kirk, Trevor Lawrence, Dak Prescott. My whole team was hurt last year. Kenneth Walker missed time. Bunch of guys missed time on my team. So I'm glad I kind of got a reset. I have a high rookie pick this year because I had, a bunch of injuries. And I should be ready to compete this year. And Bijan being my anchor, I traded St. Brown for him straight up. I had such a great receiver core that I felt like I could do it.
Yeah, I like that for you.
And they literally went back to back in this draft, so it's pretty even trade when you think about it.
Yeah, no, I like that for you. I actually personally prefer Bijan to Amon-Ra at this point. I do think that losing Ben Johnson is going to have its type of impact. Now, obviously, that's not to say that Amon-Ra is still not a top 8 overall wide receiver in Dynasty. He's just a lot closer to 8 for me now than he would be 3 or 4 personally.
Yeah, I feel so good in that league, dude. Knowing that I actually forgot a receiver that's coming in through my Devy pool.
Yeah.
I have Trey Harris as well. So I have Io Manor, Emeka Egbuka, and Trey Harris joining a receiver core that already has Neighbors. And I also forgot I have Ladd McConkey too. So Neighbors, Ladd McConkey, Chris Olave.
Didn't you get him in the rookie draft?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I got him in the rookie draft at 105 in the depleted rookie pool. I got Ladd McConkey.
Yeah.
I mean, last year there was guys that slipped through the cracks, like Brian Thomas went in the rookie draft, not in the Devy draft. Jaden Daniels went in the rookie draft, not in the Devy draft. I think Bo Nix went ahead of McConkey, if I'm not mistaken, because the person ahead of me needed a quarterback. There was guys. I know Dunze also was not was not rostered by anybody, and he went in the rookie class as well. So, yeah, my receiver core was mental. I was like, I do not need St. Brown at all.
Debating between a couple of options here. I'm between 2 of Herbert, Achane, and Ted McMillan.
I would go probably with Herbert. He seems like the best selection there. I also don't hate even potentially mixing McBride into that selection. If you wanted to go with a tight end, he might be a smidge early there. I would probably go with.
I think I'm gonna go. Herbert
I have Marvin over McMillan still. I would still prefer Marvin.
I mean, I have Ladd over Marvin, so I'm just
that to me is a little egregious. I know Ladd had a better rookie season. Don't get me wrong. I think if you just went off rookie seasons, I think it's
if they add a big wide receiver, like they're close enough to the point where I'd put Marv higher. But based off what we saw as rookies, like I legitimately think Ladd can be a 1,300, 1,400 year wide receiver.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I guess I feel like I'm on an island a little bit with Harrison, where I'm like
I still really like him. It's not like Marv is my 32nd overall ranked player.
Yeah, like I mean, to me, that's too low. Like you say you still like him, and I don't think it's egregiously low that you have him ranked, but I have him way higher than that.
Well, it's tough to rank him higher for me because then we haven't even gotten into the Jordan Love, Kyler Murray, CJ Stroud discussion, Breece Hall, Saquon. Like Saquon Barkley, I think that's an argument. Like you can rank him over Saquon, but like, are you going to rank him over Breece Hall? Are you going to rank him over Stroud? Are you going to rank him over Kyler? Like those are all guys I have in the 25 to 27 range.
I have both of those quarterbacks ahead, but I do have him over Breece Hall. He's my 25th overall player, including Genty and McMillan in my rankings, and McMillan's like 2 spots behind him. So Genty is ahead of him.
Who do you have way lower than me? Achane?
I have Achane at 28, so he's 2 spots behind Harrison for me.
There's no way I would take Marv over Achane.
I would take Marvin over Achane, man. So I've heard Harmon talk about this a lot. I've heard a lot of NFL, film grinders talk about this. They basically did to what they did to CeeDee Lamb this year, they did to Marvin Harrison, only Marvin Harrison was a rookie and didn't handle it the way that a veteran like CeeDee Lamb would handle it. So to me, I think them adding pieces to their offense, using Trey McBride the way that they used him last year, I think the defensive focus will shift a little bit away from Marvin Harrison if they have a little bit more threatening players on the outside and in the slot. And Kyler also played a little bit up and down last year. I think he's got better ball in him too.
I just got to ask, who do you think it's more likely averages 20 points per game across the next 3 years?
Harrison.
You think over Achane?
Yeah. Oh, over Achane? I thought you were talking about McConkey.
No.
I think you could probably argue it's Achane, but Achane's also a running back. So structurally, sometimes there's things you don't want to do there. He also is going to be up for a contract extension after this year. Yeah. And he might, that might come with, stuff like that. contract
Well,
negotiations.
he has 2
hold
more
out.
years, right? He has
He
2 more
does, but
years.
he'll be up for an extension after this year. And
Yeah.
they drafted Jalen Wright, who I really believed in coming out of school.
Yeah.
Maybe he works in more than like last year, where HN was pretty much the bell cow. I'm
Well,
actually on the board right now.
The thing is, I think with an improved offensive line, even if HN loses touches relative to last year, the efficiency is going to uptick back to maybe not exactly what we saw in rookie year levels, but definitely higher than what we saw last year.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think that's definitely possible. I'm gonna grab. I feel really good that I waited at quarterback here, and I grabbed Lamb and Bijan to anchor my wide receiver and running back core, and I still got Kyler at the 310.
Yeah, Kyler. Kyler only have a few
value on him.
only have a Kyler a few spots after where I have Herbert, so I do think that's a really nice value.
Well, according to my rankings, I got 3 of my top 20 players with my first 3 picks.
You have Kyler in your top 20?
He's 20 for me, yeah.
That's a little high for me.
I have him over both Stroud and Caleb Williams.
Over Caleb Williams is faded, dude.
No, I disagree. Why is it faded? He's more fantasy
what is the
relevant. He runs.
What is the market ceiling for Kyler? What is the market ceiling for Caleb?
The market ceiling is probably in favor of Caleb for sure, but Kyler
you don't have to add a probably. You know
okay,
it is.
The market ceiling is higher for Caleb Williams, but Kyler runs the ball more than Caleb Williams does. And as I kind of just made reference to, I'm just higher on Harrison playing at a MVP, like a offensive player of the year type level as soon as his second season. Like I really do think he's going to be a star receiver. I think we're going to all feel stupid after over kind of thinking how, his rookie season went kind of thing.
Yeah, but the difference is I love Marv. I get that. But at the same time, Kyler is a 27-year-old with an injury past, and his market floor comparatively to Caleb's is even lower, despite Caleb not being the proven one. And then you're looking at Caleb. He got Ben Johnson. He's got Rome Odunze, who we think is going to take the next step next year as a top 10 former pick. DJ Moore is a consistent 1,200-yard guy when he's healthy. Like, for me, it's just such a better situation for Caleb.
I will take Harrison and Trey McBride over any weapons that the Bears have by a country mile. By a country mile.
When you add Ben Johnson into that equation, I think you're faded.
Sure. But the Cardinals have more hope on their offensive line, in my opinion, than the Bears do right now. They need a lot of pieces on their offensive line. I think Harrison is just – I know Odunze and Harrison were somewhat comparable. I just think the ceiling for Harrison's way higher, and McBride is better than the second-best pass catcher on the Bears.
21-year-old uncapped ceiling quarterback versus 27-year-old cap ceiling. Like, I don't see a scenario where
cap ceiling, dude. He has multiple 25-point per game seasons.
Do you see a scenario where Kyler is a top 10 overall startup pick?
Yes. If he has a 24-point per game season and he's QB2 this year.
I don't think the market's going to rise him into a top 10 level caliber pick. I know Caleb Williams has a quarterback 8 finish this year. He's going to be a top 5 pick.
Brother, there's 6 quarterbacks in the first round of ADP right now. Sorry, 5 quarterbacks in the first round of ADP right now that are the same age now as Kyler will be next year, who are coming off of good seasons, who the market has justly, decided they are first round start picks.
I get that. You know how the market treats Kyler. Let's be real.
I know how the market treats Kyler, but I also know how the market treats Kyler when he produces, which is what I think will happen next year. It's more of a redraft take, I guess, if anything.
Even when he produces, though, we always see negatives on the market. Like, it tried to sell high on Kyler Murray. You're just simply not getting enough on the open market compared to the other quarterbacks picked in the first 2 rounds. Me personally, that's how I view it. I've tried to shop Kyler before.
I think you're misremembering how valuable Kyler was on the market when he was producing last, because it's been a while. He dealt with injury. He had the ACL tear that killed his value for a while. But before that, when he was actually last producing at a high level, we're talking about a guy. Let me look at his all-time.
Keep in mind, I'm talking about my 27th overall ranked player. I just think having him at 20 over a guy like Caleb Williams is fate.
Dude, he towed the line from the start of keep trade cut era, so the beginning of 2020, which is when he was a second-year quarterback. He towed the line at no lower than QB3 until he tore his ACL.
And he's going to be 28 years old now.
Yeah, but I don't care, dude. He produces.
With an injury past, he had a fine year this year, but realistically, based off expectations, it was lower than either of us expected.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So for me personally, it's like, he could have a big year. He could be the quarterback 5 in fantasy. If Caleb's the quarterback 8 in fantasy, I am betting that Caleb is higher every single time on market value.
Well, we've both gone back and forth.
That's a bull case for both, by the way.
Yeah,
quarterback 5,
and
quarterback 8.
I believe in the bull case for Caleb, especially now that Ben Johnson is there. But you and I both disagree on the likelihood that Caleb hits his bull case. Like I think it's less likely he ends up hitting his ceiling than you think it's likely he hits his ceiling. And I recognize his ceiling. I know it's very high, but let's call a spade here. He's not the runner that Kyler Murray is. If they produce,
doesn't need to be though.
Yes, he does. When we're talking about fantasy football,
here, let me make a pick.
There's 3 quarterbacks in the NFL that rival Kyler Murray's athleticism: Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts, and Lamar Jackson. They were the first 4 picks in this draft.
I'll respond in a second. I'm just looking at the board.
Still a lot of great options on the board for.
I know. I'm just debating whether I want to take a running back here.
Like a rookie?
No, I'm taking 2 rookies. Fuck it.
That's the worst take I've heard since Drake Maye over Daniels. Expand, Braden, in the chat. Kyler isn't in Caleb's stratosphere.
I agree.
Yeah, I disagree. I think he's proven to be a better quarterback than what Caleb has proven so far.
I said 21. I meant to say 23, by the way. I said 21. I meant to say 23 when I was talking about Caleb. But regardless, I mean, we saw what Ben Johnson did with the Lions offense with Jared Goff. We called Caleb Williams a generational quarterback prospect. We over-scrutinized his rookie season when in reality he only had 8 turnovers and 22 total touchdowns. Like, yeah, it wasn't what we expected from Caleb, but it was objectively a fine rookie season. And now you get Ben Johnson and Rome Odunze going into his second year. Like, I think the sky is the limit for Caleb.
I agree. Braden's thinking about it the same way you're thinking about it, which is the value ceiling is, probably, like, I still think the word probably belongs higher than this, because Kyler Murray is capable of 25 point per game production. And even though he's going to be 28 next year, he will be a top 6 startup pick if he produces like the QB1 in fantasy. He will be. Joe Burrow produced at a super high level, and he's 29, and he's a top 6 startup pick.
If he's the quarterback 5 in fantasy and Caleb's the quarterback 8 in fantasy, tell me with a straight face you think Kyler Murray is going ahead of Caleb Williams in startups.
How many points per game did Kyler produce?
We'll say at quarterback 5. What's the quarterback 5 average per year? 21.7.
Yeah. So I would say with a straight face that Caleb would probably be marginally higher than Kyler Murray. Not by much. Like he would be QB, like he'd be like the 106 or the 107, and Kyler would be like the 112. And you guys are talking ceiling. What about floor? I know
Kyler's got a low floor too, man. We've seen the low floor the last few years.
And he's never been outside of the top 3 rounds of a startup.
Okay, but he's also getting older.
And he was
if he has one more off year, do you think the market's going to be as cautious with him as they are? Not cautious, as, how do I put it, lenient with him as they have been?
Well, it depends what the off year looks like. If he's still running and
if he misses 5 games and he throws 13 interceptions,
I think he would fall to like the 4th, 5th round of a startup, especially because like maybe the Cardinals are thinking of moving on at that point, and he'd have to go to like a new team or something like that. I just think the floor for Caleb Williams, like Caleb objectively didn't have a good rookie season. So what happens if when Ben Johnson comes in to save him and he still looks like a bad quarterback? Like what happens if that happens?
I hate to do this. We have a year's time. Kyler Murray is the quarterback 11 in fantasy. How close is him and Baker Mayfield in market value?
Who? Kyler?
He's the quarterback 11 in fantasy.
For what it's worth, like they went pretty close now.
But in your rankings, you have him at 20. I mean, I like Baker as well, but like, where do you have Baker ranked? He's got to be probably in your 30s or 40 overall, maybe.
Yeah, just give me 1 second here. I'm gonna make a selection.
I just think it's the same case. Like, what if Baker Mayfield? He was the quarterback 4 in fantasy. What if he's the quarterback 5 next year? Like, I think it's a similar case to what we're talking about with Kyler here.
Yeah, no,
I prefer Kyler for what it's worth because of the rushing ability, but if we substitute Kyler Murray's name with Baker Mayfield's name in that question of quarterback 5 versus quarterback 8, Caleb Williams going ahead of Baker Mayfield 100% of the time. And Baker
100%. Yeah, I think he would. I think he would. I'm just you fail to understand that I'm not talking about their ceiling cases. I think that Kyler Murray's outcomes is way tighter than Caleb's.
I'm more so just substituting the name Kyler Murray with Baker Mayfield. I would prefer Kyler Murray, but realistically, Baker's only a year older and he was more productive last year.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. Here's the thing. What quarterbacks actually move the needle in Dynasty fantasy football leagues? The ones who run.
Sure, but also, I mean, with Caleb Williams, I don't think he's a like nothing as a runner.
No,
I think he's
not
a 300 to 400 yard rusher.
He's not a nothing as a rusher. But there's probably like 5-6 quarterbacks in the top 15 that are the same caliber of runner that he is. Like, I think Drake May is the same caliber of runner as him. I think Bo Nix is the same caliber of runner of him.
Drake's a better runner than him for sure.
I think Lawrence is the same caliber of runner as Caleb Williams. Like they're all decent runners. Like they're for sure. Like they have rushing value. Kyler simply is closer to Jalen Hurts, Jaden Daniels, and Lamar Jackson than those guys.
But he hasn't been though. He has
been when he's been healthy.
And that was what, 4 years ago?
No,
like the last year he had over 600 rushing yards, which is the minimum baseline to be considered even close to Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson as a rusher. Last time he had over 600 rushing yards was 2020.
Yeah, he's been hurt. I know it's a problem with Kyler right now. I get it. I love the bull case for Caleb Williams. And if you guys want, for what it's worth, they're in the same tier. Like Caleb is 22 and Kyler is 20 for me right now.
I don't see any way you could take Kyler over him.
I would.
I don't see how.
I just told you he produces better, and his range of outcomes in my mind is tighter.
We saw 1 year Caleb. What was the points per game average between Caleb and Kyler this year? And
I'm not talking about the production this year. I'm talking about what they'll produce next year.
All right.
Okay, we can drop this argument. We're probably not going to make any
I don't
make any headway here. I kind of feel like I need to get a quarterback here because everyone's starting to rip these off the board.
There's a couple good ones.
Bryce Young and Tua are very intriguing here. To be honest, I think I might limit test here and see if I can get one to fall back to me. This might be stupid. To me, I can't pass on Jordan Addison or Quinshon Judkins with this pick. It seems just too enticing to me. I already have Bijan and Brees, which kind of sucks because I would love to just take Judkins. You know what? I'm just going to take Judkins anyway. He's just the best player on the board in my mind.
Yeah, a nice little Matthew Golden.
Yeah, like, I don't know. So another announcement that we should probably let people know about, we are currently updating our trade value chart. And in our post-NFL season trade value chart, we did not have 2025 rookie pick values in it. So, for example, you'd be like, okay, well, what is Jordan Addison worth on the open market? You can go to the wide receiver trade value chart. You find Jordan Addison's name. And then you see there that it says 2025 104 to 2025 108. So you can see exactly kind of the pick. If you were wanting to trade for Jordan Addison, what would you give up? What is he kind of worth on the open market? That kind of thing. So we added that into the new edition of the trade value chart. And we also added in the rookies themselves. Like we have the rookies ranked amongst the veterans because we've now watched, 30, 35 of these dudes. So we kind of know exactly where they're going to value among the veterans and the running backs, like the top 5 dudes, the ones that we know are studs. My lowest ranked one is Caleb Johnson at 14 among running backs. So all 5 of them, in my estimation, are top 15 dynasty running backs.
Well, that's how I am with Judkins. He's my 14. So it would be, Henderson might be 15 then, right?
I have Henderson at 13. I have him one spot ahead of Caleb Johnson.
Got you. Okay.
You have Henderson below me. So
that's what I'm saying. He'd probably be 15. But regardless, yeah.
Yeah, like when you think about like, would I rather have, let's say, like Kyren Williams is my RB 17 in Dynasty right now. And like when you remove the rookies from the equation, some people might be like, oh, he's still a top 7 or 8 Dynasty running back. But it's like, dude, if I could flip Kyren Williams into the 107 or the 108 or the 109 right now to make sure I got one of those rookies, like I would do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Think about the draft capital, resetting the clock. You're going to get a 4-year rookie contract with 2nd or 3rd round, or maybe even 1st round draft capital at the 106 to 109 range. Like it's pretty much a no brainer for me. Like Kyron's up for a contract extension this year. They have Corum. They're probably maybe even investing more in that position. So even Chase Brown, who just went off the board, like I like Chase Brown quite a bit. But
I wanted him.
There's a lot of running backs in this class that I would rather have than Chase Brown, all things being
equal. One here specifically, like if he gets the draft capital / landing spot, I expect Caleb Johnson's going to be one of my picks, but I wanted to just double tap Caleb Johnson and Chase Brown here.
Yeah. This is a good question from Druk. He says, what about Anthony Richardson? Because I would agree. I'm assuming he's bringing this up because I was talking about Kyler's rushing ability. And Anthony Richardson has the same caliber of rushing ability as Kyler Murray does, in my opinion. The only problem is, like, I've heard a lot of drumbeat on this. I don't know what you've kind of heard about this, Danny. I heard James Palmer talking about this on Underdog. like the drumbeat around the league is that Anthony Richardson has a very low opinion in the minds of NFL GMs. Like people don't think he can throw the football. Like it's not like, oh, if the Colts don't, use him, like it's a Sam Darnold situation, another GM will take a swing on him or whatever. It sounds to me like he's Justin Fields, where if the Colts were like, hey, we're done with Anthony Richardson, let's trade him, we'll get a 5th round pick for him. Like nobody really gives a shit about this guy. Like nobody thinks he's a franchise quarterback at all.
Yeah, sorry. It's not tight end premium, but Loveland felt like the good spot there.
Yeah. Like what are your thoughts on Richardson? Do you think NFL teams would be beating the Colts door down to go trade for this dude?
No. Like, are they? What's fucking Justin Fields worth right now?
Well, exactly. Like Justin Fields, when he was more valuable, quote unquote, with the Bears before they were about to draft Caleb Williams, fetched what, a 4th round pick or a 5th round pick? Like, yeah, Anthony Richardson. Danny is just spamming rookies.
You're not wrong.
I would argue that Anthony Richardson has shown less than Justin Fields too. Like Justin Fields at least had a couple games there by the end of his 2nd year or rookie season, whatever year that was, where we're like, dude, he could be the next Jalen Hurts. Like we were kind of on. I
was never on Milrow train.
Where's Milrow?
Oh, Anthony Richardson. Sorry,
Anthony Richardson. Yeah, Anthony Richardson.
I was on the Anthony Richardson. Sorry, I thought you transitioned to this class because somebody mentioned rookie, so my mind went to Milrow. My apologies. Continue.
Damn it, Tua just went off the board. That was my guy that I was hoping would fall to me. Don't make me pick Shadur Sanders, guys. Please don't.
Do it. Also, Bush, sad for the Will Johnson stock, even though he's a really good football player that should go top 10. But teams might see 6'1" with a 30-inch arm length is probably an issue.
Yeah, you sound like
my arms are 29.5 inches long and I'm 5'9". So if he's 6'1" with 30-inch arms, that's probably an issue.
Or not pterodactyl, Tyrannosaurus Rex. That's pretty short arms for a corner for sure. I know Kuiper's big on NFL teams care about arm length on corners.
Yeah, they do.
We are big on it. I know Tampa Bay is.
Cowboys are too.
The reason we drafted Jamel Dean, Carlton Davis, and Zion McCollum is that they're huge corners and they have length.
Also, apparently all the fucking rumors right now are that the Packers are going to trade for DK Metcalf. That's all being reported.
Yeah. Watch the Colts add the easy button. So, Drew, the Colts have that. His name's Josh Downs. They have an easy button already. Anthony Richardson, as far as I'm concerned, I don't disagree with you. Like if Anthony Richardson were coming out of the draft right now and we were like, okay, this dude can launch a football off his back foot 65 yards. We can teach him how to be more accurate in the short to intermediate areas. It's been 2 years. Like I know he hasn't played a whole lot of games because he was hurt and stuff, but that's also kind of an issue as well, is that he can't stay on the field. So yeah, like in theory, you can teach a quarterback to do that stuff, but the word around town about Anthony Richardson is that maybe he doesn't want to learn as well. Like it sounds like he gave up on his team to some degree and like he doesn't respond well to criticism. Maybe he's going to, turn the corner. Would it totally shock me if he did a 180 this year and looked like a lot better of a quarterback? No, but the general sentiment around the league is we're more scared of Joe Flacco like teams were than Anthony Richardson last year.
I don't think that was actually a real.
I think that was true.
I don't know.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm back on the board here, and I really, really wanted Travis Hunter, and now I'm really sad that he's not on the board, because we are getting some word that it is possible this dude plays wide receiver. Like Cleveland had him, like they said that they had him ranked as a wide receiver. Some of the teams, there was like a good majority of them that had him ranked as a wide receiver.
If he's a wide receiver, he's the biggest steal of this draft.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I think, speaking of biggest steals of this draft, the fact that TJ Hawkinson is on the board at 7'10" to me seemed like an absolute steal as well. So that's the direction I'm going in. I'm kind of building out a competitive team right now with what I have going. The Judkins pick, maybe not the most on brand for a competitive team, but I mean, rookie running back who gets a 2nd round draft capital, he's definitely going to be a very intriguing piece.
Personally, evaluation, I had Drake Maye significantly higher in terms of my evaluation than I did Jaden Daniels. I do still think that there's untapped upside with Drake Maye, but the reason why I have to put Jaden Daniels where he is that the way he finished the season, the overall points per game that he's given you, obviously the issues with the legs, like it would be take lock if we kept it to where it was, but also you're acting like mid-season that Jaden Daniels didn't have a great end to the season that really embodied itself in the minds of the dynasty market as well.
Also mid-season, dude. Like I don't know about you, Danny, but I was pretty quick.
But mid-season,
quick on Jay. I was like, okay, we were wrong about that. Jane Daniels like week 3, week 5 or something. Like,
I was gonna say like week 6, week 7 is where I'm like, okay, yeah, like it's just take lock if I don't change this.
And like for what it's worth, like if you simulate 10 years from now, like it still wouldn't shock me if Drake Maye ended up being the better quarterback. Like
100%.
I still think he's capable of doing that.
For what it's worth, I still expect Drake Maye to end up being the better quarterback. Like I think Drake Maye is gonna be a top 3 quarterback in the league.
Yeah. It's also like, for what it's worth, like Drake Maye was 21 this year and Jaden Daniels was 24. Like, what does Drake Maye look like when he's 24?
Yeah.
Like it's possible we're talking about, after what year was it? The one draft where the rookie season Griffin and Luck. Griffin looked like the better quarterback after his rookie season. Over Andrew Luck. But then we like 5-6 years down the road, it's like Andrew Luck was the better quarterback. We knew that going into the draft. We knew that after the draft. It's just that Griffin had such a great rookie season.
Yeah, that's how I view it as well. I don't think those are very off comparisons either. Like literally my comp for Jaden Daniels was RG3 and Drake Maye. My comp was Trevor Lawrence / Josh Allen based off the rushing utility. Obviously I didn't actually comp him to Josh Allen, but more so if you had Trevor Lawrence with Josh Allen's rushing tendencies, that's kind of where I view where Drake Maye is. And I mean, we saw Andrew Luck, bigger quarterback, bigger arm, still mobile, while not quite as mobile as a guy like RG3. Like, I don't think they're off in terms of physical comparisons.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree with that at all. I'm really just going to punt the quarterback position here because I look at, dude, Chris Godwin is one of the best kept secrets in Dynasty right now. Like the dude was pacing a top 5 PPR point per game season last year. And I really do think they're going to run the same exact scheme and he's going to be back with Tampa Bay.
I do have to fight back because I did have to make a change. You had him listed as a late first round pick. Nobody's getting a first round pick for him on the market.
Again,
you're not getting
111 or 112 in this year's class. Would I pay that for Chris Godwin? No. Would I send a 26 late one for him? Yes.
No, I wouldn't.
I would.
With how the market views him?
Yes.
No.
Like you shouldn't have to pay that. Maybe you send a late one for Godwin plus another piece or something to balance it out. But I think he's worth that, man. His production is that good.
He's productive, but he's an older wide receiver with significant injury history. I mean, I see actually Mason in here. Mason, would you pay any future one for Chris Godwin in Dynasty? I think that's too much.
The 26 class is kind of Cheeks McGee, as we talked about last time we were doing this. I would pay a 26 late one, knowing that I will probably get Chris Godwin plus another piece back as well, like another competitive asset or a third or something.
That wasn't the question though. It was just more so on the trade value chart. You had him listed as a 1. I don't think he's worth a 1.
That's fine. Like I do my initial trade, like when we do the trade value chart behind the scenes, like I put my values in and then I wait for you to get your rankings in and then I consensus them out and then we he'll end up being 201, 205 or whatever probably. But.
I was actually like, I was just checking with the consensus to see that. And I actually I noticed that. That's why I pointed that. Worst case, hold the pick him, but that's where I'm at too. It's like, as much as I love Chris Godwin, if I can just get cheap production for a late second round pick and maybe it's only 90% of it, I would much rather do that than pay any type of first of liquidity.
Yeah. And the last thing I wanted to say on the Jaden Daniels conversation is I still think I'm not going to say that it was the correct take to have him over Drake Maye over him. I don't think it was in hindsight, especially just from a fantasy perspective. We knew if Jaden Daniels was going to,
but it was the 100th percentile outcome for Jaden Daniels.
He literally nutted out. Like he hit his absolute nuts. Dan Quinn were any of us excited about Dan Quinn and Cliff Kingsbury as the coaching pieces for Jaden Daniels? I wasn't. Nobody was.
No.
If anyone says that they were super excited about the Washington Commanders landing spot for Jaden Daniels, they were lying. They were lying. And he obviously, when you are an elite quarterback, you transcend everything. It doesn't matter who your landing spot is sometimes. But the fact that, people are just pretending like we all knew this should have been like, it's revisionist history. We should have all just been so high on Jaden Daniels. It's like he had legitimate flaws on film. He did. And he corrected them very quickly in the NFL. And his strengths showed up more so than his flaws, which happens with prospects. Like, Brian Thomas Jr. is another guy that I really don't feel like I was wrong on. I think he did have flaws on his college tape, but he corrected them quickly. And actually, the Jaguars' own head coach was in the booth at the combine yesterday, and he literally said, Liam Cohen said, when we were scouting Brian Thomas for Tampa coming out of the draft, we thought that he was raw. And then he came in and corrected all of this stuff very quickly. So I don't feel unjustified in saying that, yeah, Brian Thomas Jr. could have gone either way, but he hit because he developed at the next level, and he was a really young player. And, you know, we heard in training camp that he was,
I think that's
stuff.
the number one indicator to me that you got to bet on traits, like number one.
Of course. Yeah. Cause you do never know.
Yeah.
But if we had heard in training camp that Brian Thomas Jr. wasn't picking things up and couldn't run with the ones and stuff, like he probably goes in the other direction.
Well, the reason why I said betting on traits is I'm transitioning that back to New England. The reason why I'm betting on Drake Maye is I'm betting on the traits that I saw. I saw a big quarterback with a big-time arm with big-time mobility upside that is a lot better in terms of the intangible part of his game than a lot of people will give him credit for. When he is clean in the pocket, he can deliver accurate footballs down the field. When he's under pressure, we've seen him being able to keep his eyes down the field, keep composed, deliver accurate footballs. I understand that people are going to point out the little intricacies with his footwork or his technique. It's a 21-year-old quarterback. And that's why I am so high on Drake Maye, like a Brian Thomas Jr., because when you just bet on traits and you're betting on a young player with the right intangibles to be able to attain those traits, you end up with a guy that can be one of the best at his position. Brian Thomas Jr., this time next year, is he going to be a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL?
Yeah, he probably will be. And again, you were all over Brian Thomas. I was a little bit more hesitant, but I had the same approach with Brian Thomas as I did with Devon Achane when he was coming out, which was, I think this guy's pretty scheme specific. He's a little bit raw. He needs some development at the next level. And then when Brian Thomas went to the Jags, just like when Achane went to the Dolphins, I'm like, all right, I'm in. These are great landing spots for these guys. I actually really like the landing spot, and I think he can develop here.
Yeah, for sure. So we see, okay, Mason's here. Worst case, hold the pick, buy the certain production. Yeah, I think that's smart. Wait now until he's producing. Price will be for. Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair on Godwin. I think if you were like, there's no reason to pay of one for him now, to Danny's point. If you could get him for the 205 right now, because people are worried that A, he might not be with Tampa Bay, and B, that he's coming off of an injury, that's when you kind of take the discount there. Would he actually be worth a one right now at this moment? Probably not. But I guarantee if you sell your projected late first in 2026, let's say closer to the season when he re-signs with Tampa and he's back healthy and all that kind of stuff, are you going to regret selling that pick for the production that he's about to give you? No, that's kind of my point about Chris Godwin, at least.
Yeah. Love Drake Maye, but you got, and I'll take flack on that too. I also obviously did downplay the Washington situation. I will say though, I mean, the 24-year-old quarterback that needed to be more pro ready, given the fact that the 21-year-old obviously had the traits upside perspective to him. Now, obviously, with Jaden Daniels, I'm not downplaying anything in regards to what he's become, because obviously he's shown he could be a top 5, top 6 level quarterback in the NFL. It's more so just he hit his 100th percentile outcome, and I'll give him credit to that. I saw some issues, concerns about that middle of the field processing on tape. He landed in a situation where him and Cliff Kingsbury orchestrated that offense to perfection based off what Jaden Daniels can accomplish on the football field. For me personally, though, I still don't think we've seen 100% of what Drake Maye can become. Jaden Daniels, even if this is 100% of what he'll become, you know this can be a rock solid top 5 to 8 quarterback in the league. That's going to be a top 3 or so guy in fantasy football. Anything that you would have wished for with drafting Jaden Daniels in your rookie drafts, he's ended up becoming. Obviously, with Drake Maye, for me personally, I still think there's more to go. But to say that, oh, I can hate on Jaden Daniels because he has already shown it, I think would just be a take of mine.
Yeah. I would say
that might have been worded weird. My apologies, but basically, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, the whole Jaden Daniels versus Drake Maye conversation, in my mind, is just like let's revisit this a few years down the road. Like I'm wrong for now. That it's like I said, Commanders shouldn't have taken Jaden Daniels. They should have taken Drake Maye. That's incorrect. They obviously took the right guy. But let's see what happens 2-3 years down the road. Like Drake Maye is not like at this age, Jaden Daniels was a middling level quarterback at Arizona State.
And transferred, yeah.
Like he wasn't that good at Drake Maye's current age right now. So that's a pretty big difference in terms of experience level and age. And yeah, never wrong, just early. Exactly. That's where we that's what we're going to rely on. But obviously we will take our L. Like in rookie drafts, it was objectively incorrect to select Drake Maye over Jaden Daniels like we had it ranked. That was incorrect.
Yeah. So Drake Maye will play in an AFC championship game in the next few years. You're joking, dude.
Well, I mean, team success doesn't equal the quarterback's ability.
We're talking about quarterback wins, or we're talking about quarterback ability?
Yeah.
Are you saying that Jalen Hurts is a better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes? Then say that in the chat.
Yeah, or is Justin Herbert a better quarterback than
What are we doing?
Who's been in a championship game recently?
Fucking Brock Purdy.
Ryan Tannehill? Like,
yeah, that's outrageous. Again, I gave Jaden Daniels his respect. He's already playing at a top 5 to 8 quarterback level. There's no reason to not have him as a top 3 dynasty asset. That's
of course, yeah. And he's not only that, he's elevating the play of the players around him, which is that's rare. Like that's what Stroud did as a rookie last year.
Yeah, I mean, like he's really fucking good. Like, like people almost expect you to say like, oh, like say more than he's really fucking good because you were dead wrong. Like, no, like he's really fucking good. What else you want me to say?
Yeah, you're on the board right now. Braden asking us to Danny and Bush need your favorite sleepers in the rookie draft. So Braden, I will encourage you to ask us this question.
Yep,
probably 2 weeks from now because we are working through the players 31 to 55 in the rookie draft for the second edition of our draft guide. So the sleepers is where those guys come. And those will be the guys that we'll probably be having more educated takes on by then. However, if I had to give you some sleepers at the moment, Danny just took one of his, Jalen Royals. I know that's definitely one. He's not really a sleeper necessarily, but like a value.
Why don't to showcase this? Why don't I take one of yours?
Danny is just taking only rookies during this draft. Have you taken a player who's a veteran? Just out of curiosity.
Allen, Herbert, and Tracy, who's a second-year player.
Yeah, Danny is just drafting for a straight-up rebuild out of the startup. But
with all due respect,
Danny, how often have you and I ever taken the same approach out of a startup before?
Oh, we never do. Well, I mean, the reason why is we're taking the value around our picks, and for me personally, when I'm looking at the rookies, like they felt like a value at each pick. Like especially these last few. Obviously, early on, I knew I was building a young team, so like you can argue Tet McMillan 3-1. Probably his market value. Burden Egbuka, 4-5 turn, probably market value. Caleb Johnson, 6-12. Colson Loveland, 7-1, probably market value. But once we got to like the 9th, 10th, 11th round, and I'm getting my wide receiver 6 in the class at 9-1, I think that's a steal. I'm getting my wide receiver 7 in this class at 10-12. I think that's a steal. I haven't graded Bashal Tutin yet, but based off what you've said, I trust your word on him. I know the archetype of player he is, 5'10 with the speed. I know I'm more than likely going to like him. So in the 11th round, I'm getting a running back with juice. Steal.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you just annoyed me by taking the player that I was going to say is my biggest sleeper in rookie drafts right now. Like,
hey, if Dylan Sampson had fallen, I wouldn't have needed to.
I said it I did a video called like, the biggest sleeper running back in the class. And in that video, I said like, good luck. If you're in a rookie draft with me, good luck getting your hands on Tutin before I get my hands on him, because he will be a Bush League member for many, many leagues that I'm in. And Raheem Sanders is no different. I love Raheem Sanders' post-hype bounce back kind of sleeper appeal, because everybody's given up on this dude who we all thought was going to be the RB1 last year in rookie drafts. And he quietly had a very decent, productive bounce back season for the Gamecocks this year. And I'm excited to be able to get a value on a guy that has real legitimate size, speed, receiving ability, like everything that you could kind of need. So for running backs as of now, Tutin and Sanders are two guys that I really like. The model does think that LaQuint Allen, the really young running back from Syracuse, is an interesting prospect because he had led the class in receiving targets this year. And RJ Harvey, I know, is one that I'm very excited to watch as well, who has a lot of kind of like the same appeal that Sampson and Tutin have, which is like young back, undersized a little bit, and can, make people miss and break off long runs and stuff like that. I'm really excited for tomorrow when we see these guys test. I'm back on the clock here.
I actually really like, sorry. I'll let you make your pick.
I'm going to grab, like, again, I just don't really buy that Debo isn't good anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I'll just take the swing on Debo. I built out like a pretty competitive team. Just like I said with Danny and I, we never build out two rebuilds or two competitive rosters in startups. Like you said, we're always kind of just taking whatever falls to us. Yeah. So usually that means one of us goes rebuild and one of us goes competitive. And for whatever reason too, when we're actually in a startup, like what we would be doing when we're on the clock is trying to trade down and trying to trade up and that kind of thing. Usually one of us ends up being the one who's the psycho collecting 5 first-round picks. And then the other one ends up trading up for the productive assets or whatever. Like we're usually never both sitting pat at our picks, making the selections. It's usually one of us is selling picks for rookie picks and the other one's trading up and trying to get competitive teams.
from a fucking value perspective, the way we view it is, do we really want to align our own contending windows when each other is going to be relevant? Or do we want to just say, hey, I'm going to dominate early on because I know Danny or Corey's getting a bunch of picks, probably going to be dominant by 2026, and vice versa. It's like, if I know you're fucking building a contending team out of the startup, why would I want to also build a contending team and ruin my chances of building a monster? You know what I mean? Like, it's like the yin and the yang of it, of course. I also appreciate this, Pete. I did see this comment, and Corey, you gave me the stink eye when I said this. Obviously, again, this is
I'm gonna give Braden the stink eye for it too.
Give him the stink eye, dude. You can't say with a straight face that some of the movement isn't similar in some capacity. You don't.
I think he actually, like, just the way he runs,
the way he moves in the open field.
Guys race, they kind of look the same when they run. Jamar Chase and Jalen Royals, but the explosive ability athletically, I think, is vastly different.
I'm not saying he's Jamar Chase. I'm saying, like, there's some similarities in open space with how they move. I'm not saying, of course, Jamar Chase is a better athlete. I don't expect Jalen Royals to run, what, a 4.37 or 4.38 like Jamar Chase ran. Like, it's around that, right? Like, he's still going to be probably like a mid 4.4 guy.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree.
Also, Isaiah Bond said he was going to run in the 4.1s or 4.20.
Yeah, well, I don't buy that. I mean, he's fast, but let's be real here, Bond. If you run 4.35, I would consider that a great time.
Dude, you would love that, bro. You wouldn't love him. You don't want him to beat your boy X.
Yeah, no, he's not as fast as Worthy. Let's just get that perfectly clear.
Yeah. No, I think that's valid, Braden. I know you're like maybe a bull take. Yeah, like I did see a little bit of that, and then as you just heard, like, Corey, it's like, hey, take it easy a little bit, you know. But
yeah, do I bite the disgusting bullet of taking Derek Carr with this selection because I have Geno Smith and Kyler as my only two quarterbacks?
Go nuts. You can take Will Howard, baby.
I can't. Like, I get Isaiah Pacheco.
Your boy Dobbins is on the board.
Yeah, so is Pacheco, dude. Like, I don't think Pacheco's that great right now, but, like, dude, it's the 12-3. Like,
are they still flaming you for that? That was like a month ago. No, it's just Bush fucking.
No, I said he was nuts for saying that. Here's one guy I probably wouldn't select him, but I'm gonna take him just because I kind of want to talk about what do we think of Xavier Legette's rookie season right now? Is my question.
He, like, either maintained or, like, slightly lost value, I think.
But here's why I'm kind of not that concerned about Xavier Legette, because, like, we both expected his rookie
he earned
season
targets in the lot. Like, dude, okay, so after their bye week 11 bye week, 6 targets, 8 targets, 8 targets, 3 targets, but only played 42% of the snaps because he got hurt, so he missed the next game. 9 targets and 68% of the snaps, 5 targets and 42% of the snaps. But, like, basically what I'm trying to say is week 12 on, in the games he played basically just over 60% of the snaps, 9 targets, 8 targets, 8 targets, 6 targets. So it's like he was earning volume when he was healthy. It's just, I mean, their offense wasn't very consistent. That's kind of.
Yeah, and I mean, Legette posted 0 PFF receiving grades all season over 67 as well. Like, not one game did he post that. Like, in his overall grade on the season was 59.4. Like, 500 yards and 4 touchdowns in a season in which he was kind of banged up with ankle issues. And I think he had, like, a shoulder thing at one point and a groin maybe. Like, he had really bad injuries all year.
Yeah.
But the thing about Legette was, like, the thing about QJ, which is, like, yeah, this guy was going to take some time to develop at the next level. Like, we shouldn't really be shocked that he didn't have that great of a rookie season.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
That's where I'm at with Legette, where I'm like, and I know, like, there's Braden in the chat, he's going cokeheads. Like, brother, you're not going to find many Jalen Coker guys bigger than me. But Legette was the one.
You still got to take Legette, though.
Yeah, like, Legette was the 32nd pick of the draft. Like, and Coker was a UDFA. And I think it's very possible, even likely, potentially, that Tet McMillan's a Panther. And these guys both go down a spot on the depth chart or whatever. I think, but the thing I'm interested in with Legette is the player I saw on film at South Carolina. Like, he was a great receiving prospect on film. He didn't have a great profile. We all knew that. We talked about it numerous times. But his film that last year at South Carolina really showed me what he can be. And I think Dave Canales is capable of coaching him up to what he can be at the next level. And there were moments where he looked like the player that we saw at South Carolina. It's just going to take him a little bit of time. And we're all so impatient in the Dynasty community. I get it. Nobody really likes waiting for these receivers to be great. But
let's do a rookie mock. We have a little bit of time.
You want to do a rookie mock?
Yeah, it'll take like 15 minutes as well.
Yeah. Let's do a rookie mock too. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Okay. We got some more time. We'll do a rookie mock. Real quick, before we do the rookie mock, do you want to go over your team and then I'll go over mine? I'll just make the draft while you're doing that.
Yes, I also wanted to point one thing. Colson Loveland official measurements, nearly 6'6", 248 pounds.
He went nearly 6'6".
6'5.6".
Shit, eh?
Fucking hell. That's a fucking dragon. Yeah,
I'd be curious to know, like, when we get the RES numbers, like what percentile his length is too.
Yeah, 10-inch hands, 32 and a half, nearly 33-inch arms, like tackle level arms. That's insane. Let me get through my team. Sorry. Basically, I just got the rookie squad plus 4 non-rookies, I guess. Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Tyrone Tracy, J.K. Dobbins, my only non-rookies on this team. The rookies, I mean, Tet McMillan, Luther Burden, Emeka Egbuka, Caleb Johnson, Ilike Manor, Jalen Royals, and obviously Bijal Tootin, to the dismay of one Corey Bushland. So overall, obviously, I would be a big fan of this team if I left it with a startup. Obviously, going to need a lot to happen from my rookies, but these are rookies that I believe in. Straight up.
Yeah, Danny's like, let's do a rookie draft as if he didn't just do one.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
No. Yeah, so my team, I actually really like how it turned out going with the anchors at running back and wide receiver first with Bijan, Lamb, grab Breece Hall there at the 403. In hindsight, maybe you pass on Breece Hall for a quarterback, knowing what happened to me. I really did think that at my 710 or my 603 or whatever, I could have gotten a great option at quarterback because, as I've talked about, it feels like 465 times this offseason. That QB 15 to 22 range, I actually really, really like the value that you're getting on those guys between, that Penix, Goff, McCarthy, Bryce Young, Tua Tagovailoa, Dak Prescott territory. I really like getting those guys as my QB2, knowing that I can beef up a little bit more than in years past. What we used to do was we would, hammer out quarterbacks early. You can beef out a little bit more on your wide receiver and running back position in the early portion of the draft, knowing that you can get some better quarterbacks later. Again, I waited a little too long. In hindsight, I probably wouldn't have waited this long, but Geno Smith is my second quarterback. If I was actually drafting a team like this, I probably would have traded up for Tua. When I was, after I selected Hawkinson, I probably, with my 803, would have traded up to get Tua Tagovailoa as my second quarterback. Is probably what I would have done.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think you built out a strong squad there. I'm assuming probably rounds 13 to 15 or so. You probably grab a couple more running backs to fill out your depth. Yeah, like what you were able to do there. We do see a couple more. Jared in chat here, Drake Maye, Patrick Mahomes, AJ Brown, Omarion Hampton, grabbing the young wide receivers left, filling out the running back core with Hubbard and Etienne, and then drafting 3 straight tight ends. Now, for me personally,
I would have stopped after Njoku, but
yeah. I mean, if you wanted to take Kincaid in the 12th after Njoku, okay, that's one thing, but taking Likely as well just feels a little much for me.
Yeah, it feels like a bit much. I'm gonna send the invite link in the private chat to you first, and then I will throw it in the chat, and we can rip a rookie mock as well. We're gonna just do a Superflex rookie mock.
One more thing, Commanders Texans apparently heavily interested in trading for Deebo Samuel.
It makes way too much sense for Houston to do it because
I think Washington as well.
I mean, Washington too, but do you really trust Cliff Kingsbury to know how to use Deebo Samuel? I do not.
I mean, the way that offense operated this year, having a guy that can soak up like the Eckler / tight end targets that they had this past season.
Or the TS role even a little bit too.
What I mean, like,
yeah,
Eckler and their tight ends like got a lot of volume last year. And if Debo's soaking up 80% of that,
yeah, that's a good point.
You give him 110, 120 targets on that offense after Terry McLaurin being that X on the outside. Like, I think that works. Now, and obviously it'll probably be pretty cheap too. I would be shocked if they had to pay anything more than like a 4th or 5th round pick.
Yeah, I agree. We got one more saying to rank their team. Which one are you, K Money? I'm looking around here. Probably this one.
Yep.
108. Let me move us out of the way. Neighbors, Thomas, Higgins, Lawrence, Henderson, Warren, Hunter. So you went really young with this team. I think you waited a little too long at quarterback. So I'd probably only give you like an 8 out of 10 or 7.5 out of 10 kind of thing.
Yeah.
I probably go with a quarterback where you went with Higgins.
Kyler over Higgins.
Would have gone with Kyler for sure, or Love if you like Love, or one of those type of guys. So that would be the only difference. I think the Neighbors Thomas start was great. And then I would have grabbed a quarterback where you took Higgins, because then your team would have like rounded into shape a little bit better. And instead of taking Fields where you took him, you probably could have grabbed some wide receivers there. Yeah, literally take some rookies, Dan.
Take some rookies. Yeah, fuck my bad. I'll try to incorporate some more into the rookie mock.
Yeah. T Porter review. Okay, while we're waiting for this one to fill out, we can go one more.
I can't lie. I closed my tab, so that's on you.
I got it. T Porter. So this is 104. Lamar, Drake London, Harrison, Mayfield, Jacobs, Bryce. I mean, I really don't have any problem with any of the picks that you made here. I think I
wouldn't have taken cornerback 3 too early.
I like the value on Bryce, though. I don't really hate that at all.
Yeah,
I actually just disagree on some of the late picks. Like I think it's a smidge early for Connor, but you kind of went with competitive teams, so I get it. And then I just am frankly not in any universe taking Ricky
Connor over
Pearsall that high.
Connor over Tracy. I
mean, I'm not going to kill him too much for that. I just think Pearsall's the only pick that I really disagree with here. I think taking Pearsall over like Jaden Higgins in this year's rookie class to me is just absurd. Jaden Higgins went like 2.5 rounds later. Like you could have taken Pearsall over.
I got Royals at the 10-12, and I personally prefer Royals over Pearsall.
Like he took Pearsall straight up over Josh Downs, Jerry Jeudy, Jaden Reed, and Michael Pittman. Like to me, that's insane. That we're taking Pearsall that high.
Yeah,
I get Debo's probably going to get traded and stuff, but like Pearsall is like the single worst first round prospect that's gone in the first round of a NFL draft. And he didn't do a whole lot this rookie season. I mean, like he had a great week 17. And of course he had the whole incident that stunted his development and stuff, but I'm not convinced that he's going to be the number 2 on that team with Jennings and Ayuk there.
Whoa, wait.
What?
Whoa. Loveland's taller than Warren.
That's insane.
And Warren's only 8 pounds heavier. And Loveland has way longer arms.
Yeah. So Warren weighed in at what?
256. Loveland was 248.
Well, so as I talked about when I was going through the grade of Loveland, and we talked about it with Mason on the Dynasty. If you guys haven't seen that, by the way, me and Danny did a video on Mason's Dynasty channel going over our top 24.
That was
rankings.
the incident.
Yes, that was the incident. Yes. But I talked about this with Loveland, is that he was like the prototype productive tight end size. Like you actually don't really want tight ends that are like 250 plus. You kind of want them in that 242 to 248 range. That's the sweet spot. Like if you go over, I'll literally pull it up right now because I have the data available. The top 3 dynasty tight ends right now: Brock Bowers, Trey McBride, Sam Laporta. 243, 245, 246 is how much they weighed at the combine. TJ Hawkinson, 251. David Njoku, 246. George Kittle, 247. Mark Andrews, the heaviest at 256. Tucker Kraft, 254. Kyle Pitts, 245. Evan Ingram, 240. Jake Ferguson, 250. Dalton Kincaid, 246. Like that primo size is, and all of these guys pretty much were either 6'4 or 6'5. So you want to be about 6'4, 6'5, 245, give or take. That's like the prototypical elite
literally
size.
Colston Loveland size.
Yeah, Colston Loveland is the prototype essentially. We got 2 more spots in this draft, by the way, before we can get this going. Also, if you guys want to join it, I dropped it in the chat here.
Real quick, if you guys haven't seen the channel, we recently did a video just like gauging the caliber of need teams have at the running back position this offseason. We did it in a tier list format. Spoiler alert, just one little spoiler in that video. We mentioned that if there was like one spot that shocked us and took a running back relatively high, because I mean Antonio Gibson is going to be leaving in free agency. Ramondre Stevenson, I believe, is only 1 guaranteed year left. It would be the Patriots, and apparently they met with Omari and Hampton. The reason why I point that out, if you guys are unfamiliar, Omari and Hampton, former college teammate Drake Maye.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Top of the second round.
The ETN strategy that the Jags did.
I saw it posted. That's why I mentioned it. Carlos Los Talks Pats posted on Twitter per Alex Barth that they met with Omar, and he said he would be amazing to link back up with Drake.
Yeah, the Patriots putting a big investment into the running back position, especially when you consider like how hard they tried last year to make Ramondre not their starter, but Antonio Gibson just was not reliable enough to do that. Like if you dropped, I'm trying to think of a rookie running back that didn't have that great of a rookie season. If you dropped Ray Davis as the backup running back on the Patriots last year, over under week 11 by the time he was the starting running back of the Patriots. Like he would have started over Ramondre. They tried so hard to get Ramondre not to be the starter last year.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Also, too, if we remember when Ramondre was first brought in, who was his backfield partner? Damian Harris.
Yeah.
Like obviously, I like Omar is better than Damian Harris, but just in terms of like a physical back between the tackles, like that's initially what role Stevenson was playing, like as a spacer, because Damian Harris was there between the tackles guy.
Yeah. Hampton wasn't my 102 anyways, but I do think people would be caught in a bind a little bit if Hampton went 102 or if Hampton went to the Patriots.
Give me the discount, please. I would.
Yeah, I'll take the discount too for sure. But I think there'd be people pending where Henderson, Caleb, and Judkins go that'll bump those guys ahead of them. I would imagine.
Hey, dude, any scenario I can get Omar and Hampton at like 106, 107, I'll be
excited for it. Yep. Still need 2 more, fellas. We got to get 2 more into this rookie draft mock that we're gonna do, and then we'll rip through it. So if you're listening to this and you want to join the draft with us, just head to the YouTube channel and click the link in the chat. We've got 1 more now at this point. Devontae Smith and a 26 second or Godwin and a 26-1. I think I like Smith in the 2 there slightly. Yeah, it's pretty close though. It would depend kind of where those project to be. If they're both mid to late, I would probably take Smith in the 2nd, but maybe that's like an early 2 versus a late 1 kind of thing. Like I would probably say that it's closer.
Yeah, the reason why it's kind of weird because it's like I would put Devontae Smith like right on the tether line of receivers that I'd be willing to sell high on in Dynasty. But at the same time, it's like I just talked about how Chris Godwin's market value is very up and down based off his overall production. Like if he's hurt, dude, it's so hard to trade that guy off your team. And even when he is producing, it's like you have such a small window to be able to maneuver him. So just
it's hard to get a 1 out of Godwin unless like if you sold Godwin at like week 4 of this season, you probably would have gotten a 1 for him. But like you haven't been able to get a 1 for Godwin in a couple of years, so that's probably the difference there. I guess part of it is fan copium on my part, but he's still to me one of the best 20 receivers in the league.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of even real life, I think that's 100% factual.
I'm
on the clock here, so we do actually see, I believe, my top. No, I have Cam Ward at 6. So my 4th overall ranked player, I'm just going to take here would be Luther Burden, my guy.
Yeah, nothing too crazy here. I mean, Ward going. So it looks like Matthew Smith here says Ward is the 102 by far. I believe he is picking 102 in this rookie draft.
I mean, you can get there if you're a big time Cam Ward guy. Like I can at least see the upside as to why you get there.
Slides. If Ted doesn't go top 10, he's like the 16th pick in the draft or something like that. You could get me there on Ward being like if he's the 1st or the 2nd pick or something. Like based on what we're hearing, and Danny's been sending me rumors all week about shit that's coming out from the combine. It sounds like it might be a foregone conclusion that Cam Ward's a Cleveland Brown. Sorry. If the Titans don't pick him and someone doesn't trade up ahead of Cleveland, like it sounds like a foregone conclusion he's going to be on the Browns.
Yeah. I gave you the benefit of the doubt with the first take. I'm going to have to call a spade here. You are faded for having anybody but Genty at 101, in my opinion.
Yeah, that is correct. Because when Genty, probably at his pro day, runs a 40 and does the tests and stuff, he's going to be in the generational tier most likely. All Genty has to do, I said it for McMillan, all McMillan and Genty have to do to be in the top tier in the prospect model is have higher than a 7.5 relative athletic score and be drafted in the top 10. Genty, draft capital could be a question mark because he's a running back. They might not want to take him that high. He could go 12 to Dallas or whatever, and that would hurt his hit rates a little bit to be in that generational tier, and that would hurt his grade a little. But if the Raiders pick him at 6 and he runs a 4.42 and has a 9.2 RAS score or whatever, he's going to be a generational prospect, just like Bijan was, just like Saquon was, and just like McCaffrey was. So,
yeah, for sure. You were on the clock here at the 112, sir. And sadly for you, Travis Hunter didn't fall back, but
sadly for me, I got to take the lesser fucking Colorado player by the looks of it. I mean, I could take, you know what? Let's get some Loveland love here because Loveland just went and weighed in like a freaking pterodactyl. So I will I will grab Colston Loveland, man. 6 foot, damn near 6'6" and 248 pounds is prototype size for the tight end. It really sucks that he's not working out today because if maybe he's just not running a 40, but I heard he's dealing with like an injury. So
I know all the Michigan guys are running their 40s at the Michigan Pro Day. I know Johnson said that. I know Mason Graham said that. Grant said that, and I think Loveland also said that.
Yeah. It looks like they're all gonna. We'll see if Edwards does it tomorrow, but I would imagine the.
What could have been?
Yeah, I would imagine the once Loveland tests though, he's going to be a very, very big riser because I think part of it is that he's testing at his pro day and it's going to probably inflate his numbers a tad bit, but I would imagine he's going to test pretty well. So speaking of Loveland, by the way, this is actually void. Well, one of these is void because I put this out on our TikTok and as a YouTube short today that I was putting. Underdog actually has pick'ems for the combine. So if you guys are curious, you're like, hey, I actually think this guy's going to run faster than people think or slower than people think. You can actually make money off of that. And this first part of this entry, this will be 3 picks for 30 or 2 picks for $30 instead of 3 for 60 because Colston Loveland's will end up being void because he's not going to run. But Caleb Johnson, I think he's going to go slower than his 4.47. We both love Caleb Johnson. I just don't think he has that kind of juice. And Trey Harris, I think he'll go a tad slower than that 4.50 as well. I think Trey Harris is probably more a 4.55 guy than a 4.50 guy. So that's where I'm at with those two.
Hey, Matthew, appreciate you for having some individual takes, but I don't think anybody's dying on that hill with you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, Ward, I like Ward, man. I like Ward. You would not sound crazy if you told me right now that Cam Ward was the 4th best quarterback in last year's class. I don't think that's an outrage.
If you wanted to argue him over
McCarthy and Nix, that's totally fair. Sure. I disagree with you. I think the highest you can put him is 5. Whether you were a big McCarthy guy like Danny last year, or a big Nix guy like me last year, I think he had to be behind one of those guys at the very least. But I do like Ward. Don't get me wrong. I'm probably higher on Ward than the majority of the Dynasty community, I would imagine, is.
Matthew, I respect your cojones for not just following consensus. If you did the work and you watched the film and you say, hey, listen, like what I saw from film points to Cam Ward being that guy, who are we to say that you're fucking wrong? We don't know. I mean, Cam Ward's got a high ceiling. What if he goes out there and he has a big time year one? Like, I'm not saying that's not out of the range of possibilities.
Cleveland's got good players too. Like, if Cam Ward goes to the Browns, like, which I think he will, like, it'd probably be the betting favorite, I would imagine, to where Cam Ward goes. He's got Jerry Jeudy, who played really well last year.
Oh, the Browns are a really good spot.
David Njoku's a great tight end. I think they'll add a running back and probably more receiver talent in the draft and maybe even in free agency as well. They have a pretty good offensive line. It's a little bit older in terms of like some of the pieces on it, but they got a good offensive line that can teach him a thing or two. The coaching staff's good. Like, if Cam Ward was, let's fast forward 1 year from now, Cam Ward's QB8 in Dynasty behind only like Drake May and Mahomes and all those guys because he had offensive rookie of the year type of season, I wouldn't be shocked one bit.
Sorry, I just read this. Give that man an elite trait bonus.
So Scadaboo elite. So Arthur, he's referring to in our draft guide, we have a bonus for the running backs on giving them elite trait bonuses. Those are usually, Arthur, reserved for physical tools like speed and, explosive 0 to 10 kind of quickness or like things of that nature. I think you're making the argument that maybe his receiving ability or his contact balance belong to have him a little bit higher in that area.
He's definitely RB7.
Yeah. I mean, he's my RB7 behind Tootin. I have him, Tootin, and Sampson and Gordon, like all very, very close behind that second tier of guys. Like he's a great prospect. Don't get me wrong. I just don't quite view him that way. I'm going to get fired here. Shit.
Wow. Milrow. Wow.
You know what? I'll leave it. I deserve that one.
You could change it.
No, I deserve it. I got fired. And here's the other thing too. Do I think Jalen Milrow's a franchise quarterback? No.
Don't sell us on Jalen.
No. Do I think Jalen Milrow's a franchise quarterback? Absolutely not.
Matt, let him know, bro.
Here's the thing, though. If Jalen Milrow, let's fast forward. He is a top 75 NFL draft pick. He goes in the early third round, late second round area where like Trask and Davis Mills and those guys went a couple of years ago in terms of draft capital. His correct valuation in rookie drafts is what?
I don't know. I'm not interested.
I am.
I'm not.
Late second, early third round, if he got top 75 draft capital, dude, he will crush his ADP if he starts.
Where's your valuation on Joe Milton?
Joe Milton was a 7th round pick.
He crushed in week 18, though.
He did crush in week 18. But dude, if the Steelers re-signed Justin Fields to a 1-year deal and they took Jalen Milroe at the end of the second round, you're telling me that Jalen Milroe doesn't belong to go at like 301?
I mean, somebody might get him there, sure.
No, he won't. Jalen Milroe could run a 4.2 and he wouldn't get in the first round. I don't think NFL teams are that dumb.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it a stack. The guy's just dog shit.
I don't think he's a good quarterback either. Let me just be perfectly clear about that. I just want to simply throw out the take that when it comes to the whole, we're going to be humble about our evaluations on quarterbacks, because that's a reasonably good thing to do, because people, including NFL scouts who have been like Coach Tom Moore, the QB coach of the Tampa Bay Bucks, has been scouting and watching quarterbacks for 60 years, and he will still miss on quarterbacks. So that's how the quarterback position is. Jalen Milroe could be in a 10%, 20th% chance a quarterback that starts games in the NFL. And if he's a quarterback that starts games in the NFL, he will be worth wherever he goes in this rookie
Can I
class,
change my answer? Can I change my answer? If he goes top 75, I'm wondering where he would grade on the FSC running back prospect model, because he'd be quite the running back prospect.
That's funny. I will say though, like the Jets take him in the 2nd round, 3rd round. Browns take him 2nd round, 3rd round.
Watch out, Breece Hall.
Steelers take him 2nd round, 3rd round. I'm going to be interested, man. I'm going to be interested, because when we say the sentence, we can't evaluate quarterbacks, why not, dude? 301, 303, whatever. I'm probably going to miss on that pick anyways. Might as well swing for an elite quarterback.
I couldn't think of 2 less important traits for a quarterback to have than being inaccurate in reading a defense. Am I right?
Yeah, literally. What's the outlook on the 26 rookie class? Too early to say. In April, probably, I'll do a video running the 26 prospects through the prospect model so that people have an idea of just how shit the wide receiver class specifically is. The running back class will have some dudes, but the wide receiver class will not be good at all by the looks of it, unless we get some BTJ.
Carnell tape, baby.
Yeah, Nick Anderson is my dude from Oklahoma that I want to see break out. But we're gonna need some major help. Let's just put it that way. We're gonna need some major help from this college football season to get this 2026 wide receiver class in order.
Wow. Stafford back to the Rams.
What?
LA's quarterback is back. Rams and Stafford reached an agreement today on a restructured deal that keeps him in Los Angeles and quashes any trade speculation.
Wow. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, it sounds like he was pretty close to getting dealt.
Yeah, that is.
Sounds like the Raiders and Giants did everything they could. He was the first domino, I would imagine. Like we haven't heard anything about like what do teams think of Sam Darnold and what do teams think about most of these free agent quarterbacks. And I think the reason for that was, well, we got to figure out what's going on with Matthew Stafford first. It was just like when Tom Brady was a free agent, the Chargers and the Raiders and those other teams that were in on Tom Brady were like, okay, we need to see what happens first before we do anything. It's like, we want Tom Brady, but like if Tom Brady doesn't come here, we'll then pivot into a different strategy. And that's when the Raiders signed Jimmy G and Chargers drafted Justin Herbert and all that stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
I think the Chargers ended up better off.
See James Pierce, 9.32.
Yeah, great. Hopefully he doesn't test himself out of the range that the Bucs can pick him.
Yeah, no, him and Jihad Campbell one of them will be Tampa Bay Buccaneers for sure.
Hopefully. Yeah, I would like any defensive player whatsoever on our defense to add, especially at edge, linebacker, or secondary. We could use some players there. Yeah, what the fuck this is a good question. What the hell do we do with Aaron Rodgers, man? Where is he going?
He was expected to go to the Rams, right? Bring Devontae Adams.
I could see the Raiders being like, okay, now we're going to go after Aaron Rodgers because Stafford's not available.
Yeah. I mean, could you imagine that? It'd be so fit. Do you think Brady would actually go after Rodgers, or would he be petty and be like, nah, fuck that guy?
I could see it. I mean, so I'm thinking like the Raiders' old personality of Al Davis and Mark Davis and stuff. That's where Rodgers makes sense. like if Al Davis was still running the Raiders, like Rodgers is a Raider, guaranteed kind of thing. But Brady now kind of running things or whatever, like maybe that's not the case anymore. Maybe he's going to be like, Sam Darnold's got good tools and blah, blah, blah. Like I think to me, betting favorite to throw a bag at Darnold is the Raiders personally.
Darnold, yeah. I would
I think the Raiders
that.
would be the team that would throw a bag at Darnold. Knowing
how
that Stafford's no
tall
longer available.
How tall did Fannin measure out? Because he weighed 241.
Well, he was 238 at the Senior Bowl, so it looks like he's even bulked up a little bit more. He officially weighed in 6'3" and 2'8" or something like that, I think, at the Senior Bowl.
Okay, that makes sense.
His whatever his size is in the tight end database is the correct size here, what he had at the Senior Bowl.
Apparently no contact. Any 40-yard dash times you like today? I haven't looked at the lines, but I'll take a look.
Yeah, here I got a couple more too that I'm going to drop on a TikTok for tomorrow. Here's this is the all fast guys one. So the people who care about the fast times here. We got Dylan Sampson. I think he's going faster than 4.39.
Henderson at 4.4 and Sampson at 4.39 is free.
Yeah, exactly. I like these guys to go faster than their reported times, and I think Tez is fast, man. But 4.35 is what he would have to run to beat this. That seems high to me.
Yeah, I don't think he's quite that fast.
He's fast. Like I think he'll run probably 4.39, 4.42, something like that. But I don't think he's running 4.35. Like that's fast. Like
no, I agree with you.
They don't have Tootin's time available because they know it's just free cash for me. But yeah, Underdog's got combine time, so definitely check that out.
Yeah, where's it listed at? Because I'm trying to.
You can't see it in Canada. Spicy built those out for me.
That's insane.
Yeah, if Underdog pick'ems are not legal where you are, you won't even be able to see what the combine times are. But if they are legal for you, then you should see them there.
I mean, we will be taking our trip soon, so it'll be fun to get some more drafts.
Yeah, it will be. Is DK going to the Packers or what? I mean, it sounds like they got an offer out for him potentially.
Yeah. Apparently, so Aaron said Athletic reported no contact, but like I think that trade would make sense on both ends because like DK is kind of almost exactly what the Packers need.
My question is like, why do the Seahawks want to move away from DK?
Well, if you get offered like Wicks in the 23rd overall pick,
yeah, for that price tag for sure. But like, yeah, I mean, like a late first, I think is a viable return for DK. I just like, aren't they trying to like be good?
Yeah, I think they kind of realize that they're kind of capped.
Well, like, then they should probably move away from Geno Smith too.
I don't disagree. I don't know. But like you're telling me right now, if I got offered, especially with like DK's a little bit of a character, like you can just fucking get a first round. AJ Brown went for like the 20th overall pick, and AJ Brown's 10 times better than DK.
Yeah.
I mean, so like also, dude, I would just let him go in like the second round of fantasy drafts because people try to convince themselves he's exactly what they wanted Christian Watson to be.
I don't think people would be that stupid. I think he'd be a third.
Don't think so?
No, I think he'd be like a mid third. Probably.
On Underdog, DK's always like a mid third, like the last couple of years.
I think he'd be the same kind of relative expectation.
Oh, I think if he went to the Packers, they'd bump him up a half round.
Really?
Yeah.
What's the ceiling for Worthy next year? I mean, it's hard to know without knowing if Rice is going to get suspended. If Rice gets suspended, I think Worthy's got a pretty damn nice ceiling for next year. But if Rice is not going to get a major suspension, like maybe it's 2 games or something like that, I could see Rice still being the like PPR absorbs most of the targets kind of thing. Cause that's really what made Worthy good by the end of the year is that he was getting a lot of targets. And if Rice is there absorbing work there, I think that would hurt him a little bit, but those two guys are perfect complements to each other. Like part of me is like, are we missing a generational wealth opportunity on Patrick Mahomes right now? Because with Worthy and Rice next year, I think they could be really fucking.
You also have to sub out Kelsey.
Kelsey's going to play though.
Yeah, but
he's the third option in the offense.
I more so meant based off the expectation that we had coming into 2024. Sorry, let me repeat that.
Okay.
Not without Kelsey, but
let's think
without
about
the Kelsey we know.
Right. Let's think about what actually transpired this year. For the majority of the year, Worthy wasn't playing well. Rice was hurt. And Marquise Brown was hurt. And Kelsey wasn't playing at a high level versus what it could be next year. We assume Rice is healthy or close to healthy. Worthy is healthy. Kelsey is no longer the number 1 target there. He's just like the third option or whatever. Noah Gray took a step forward last year. They've talked about wanting Marquise Brown back. I don't know. I think Mahomes specifically,
you know why I'll counter
is
that?
An interesting trade target for Dynasty right now because I do think people are down on him. And I could see like we're 2 years removed from Patrick Mahomes having an MVP season with Juju Smith-Schuster as his best receiver and Kelsey being really his only reliable target?
It's fascinating because I also think part of it is that similar to the mid to late 2010s Patriots, where they built up their defensive identity in a way where why would you have Patrick Mahomes completely uncorking in the regular season when you know you're going to make the playoffs, even if he's only throwing you 28 touchdowns and 4,100 passing yards. So why would you up his scale to a 5,000 yard, 45 touchdown type of pace when you really just don't need to? Like that Chiefs defense, bro, over under top 3.5 on the league in points per game allowed.
Yeah, that would be that. I think that's been actually more of the bigger takeaway from Mahomes' ability to get a lot of passing yards and passing touchdowns has been just the Chiefs defense has just been really good the last couple of years.
Really good, dude.
It's possible that when they have to start paying people, like they already jettisoned LJ Snead last year, like have they paid McDuffie yet?
I'm not sure.
I think they did, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe they paid McDuffie because they lost Snead.
Yeah, I mean they're drafting so well too. Like, and everyone plays well. Like Karlaftis is starting to turn the corner at edge and stuff. Like they have a good defense. Don't get me wrong. I just think defense sometimes fluctuates year over year. You get a couple bad injuries. You know, you just play worse for whatever reason. And Mahomes has got to throw the ball a little bit more. Like, I mean, it's Patrick freaking Mahomes, guys. Like there's a thing in here like, oh, Mahomes is like washed or whatever. It's like, I'm not really buying it.
McDuffie's got one more year yet, but I'm assuming they extend him.
They're going to probably extend him this offseason then.
Where do you think? I mean, we're the highest paid. Okay, highest AAV cornerback contest.
I think it's Surtain's probably the highest one, I would imagine.
Has he resigned yet? Because he's mixed class.
Resigned last year.
Got you. Okay, so we got Ramsey at 24.1 per. Surtain 24. Jair at 21. Terrell at 20.25. Ward at 20.1. Yeah, fuck. Man, I need a healthy Trayvon Diggs. He's 19.4.
Yeah, McDuffie will get probably close to what Surtain got, I would imagine.
I think McDuffie might even get more.
Well, yeah, I mean, just by the market, he could definitely.
Maybe like a 4-year, 25 million per, like a 4x100 type of deal.
Yeah, like I don't know. I just look at. I'm like, dude, we're getting.
So it's his 5th year as well. Yeah, correct.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
But like the Chiefs are pretty good at paying people like on time and getting extensions done or whatever. I just look at it this way. We might look back 5 years from now and be like, do you remember when Patrick Mahomes was a 2nd-round startup pick? Like we might be thinking that. That might be like, dude, we are so stupid for drafting him ever that low.
I'll counter one thing. By then, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's Patrick Mahomes wants to be the next Brady, so he's gonna play into his 40s as well. But we got spoiled by Brady, dude. Not every fucking quarterback is gonna play into their 40s. And realistically, 4 years from now, if Mahomes would be what, 33 or 34 years old, 34 years old. Like I just have a hard time seeing him be a 1st-round pick if he's not one right now.
He's too good, man.
He's insane. I know, but like
I think a year from now, Mahomes has let's say we fast forward a year from now, he just came off of a 42 touchdown, 6 interception season. Mahomes is 104.
Yeah.
Like that's what's gonna happen.
Sorry, you mentioned this, so I have to bring it up now because I think it's objectively hilarious. Who was the name you just mentioned with the Rams now bringing back Stafford? Like, what's going on with him?
Darnold.
The other one.
Oh, Rodgers.
Giants are looking into Aaron Rodgers with Stafford off the trade market.
Oh, dude, Aaron Rodgers on the Giants? Ew.
He's going to bring Devontae Adams over, bro. Trust.
Cam Scadaboo's not running, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, go figure. He's going to run like a 4.65.
Yeah.
Per Diana Mussolini. What?
Yeah.
That team would be elite.
I think to be honest with you, for Aaron Rodgers, it should be Raiders or bust. Like he should retire if the Raiders don't want him. You gotta go to the Titans or the Giants. Like, what the hell? Like, why? What's the point?
So Hayden tweeted this out. The Stafford dominoes. Darnold's value is up. Any enough free agents to sign instead of keeping Sam for $40 million. Look at the list. Like Sam's gonna get more than $40 million. And it's gross. He's gonna get 45.
Exactly 40 personally.
Yeah. I mentioned the Corbin Smith thing, which was DK Metcalf for either Dubs or Wicks plus 23. He also says Giants beyond desperate, way more likely to trade up to 101 for Cam Ward at this point. Could you imagine that? The Titans would
repeat that,
dude, because the Titans have been rumored like they don't want to draft the quarterback, so they would want to trade down. And if they could trade down at 3, knowing the Giants would take Cam Ward and then also guarantee themselves Hunter or fucking Abdul Carter, that's probably like their most ideal scenario if the Giants got desperate because they can't get Stafford and offered number 3 overall plus maybe a couple future 2s. And like if you're the Titans, you still get your guy. Like that's a smash.
Yeah, it seems like a good thing. Yeah, you said Giants are pivoting to Aaron Rodgers after failing to land Matthew Stafford. I will say though,
both, to be honest.
I will say it'd be kind of fun. Aaron Rodgers play with Malik Neighbors and Travis Hunter or whatever. It'd be kind of fun.
They're gonna draft or they're gonna sign Devontae Adams too, eh? They're gonna bring him in if they
got that's a good point. Actually, I didn't even think of that.
I love how they're just tied to the hip at this point.
Yeah, Devontae Adams is just like a cuck chair of a receiver at this point in his career. He's just like, all right, Aaron, let's go to where you want to go.
So is that just your plan? Like if you're the Giants, if you think, hey, I want to sign Cam Ward or I want to go up and get Cam Ward, would you sign Rodgers to like a 1 or 2 year deal, bring in Devontae Adams and have Cam Ward developing behind him for a year? And it'd be so hilarious because his comp was Jordan Love. Imagine he got Rodgers.
That would be funny. Yeah, they could just still draft a quarterback. That's fair. They could bring in Aaron Rodgers and draft Shedeur at 3 or whatever.
Adams is not better than Neighbors at this point.
Yeah, get out of here. Come on now.
Dude, do you guys really believe it? I'm throwing
Diana Rossini. First of all, Schefter is confirming it too. It's not just Diana Rossini.
Also, Matthew, we're a fantasy channel. Like we're gonna bring up a rumor and we're gonna talk about the possibility if that were to happen, what the dynamics.
Ballsack Sports could bring it up and we would take it seriously. Like, we don't really care that much.
It's just conversation. It's having fun. I mean, we're about an hour and a half into the live stream just talking ball. You know?
Yeah, Barry McCockiner could come out with that rumor and I would probably put some credence to it. Like pretty much anybody has more sources than we do.
Yeah. Also, speaking of, I mean, we're talking about any football reports. I may as well just do it for the meme and talk about a basketball thing. Them Lakers are looking fucking special, baby. 16 out of 20, 16-4 record, man. Luka's not even looking like himself yet, but LeBron's playing at an MVP level. T-Wolves, man. Like
I don't know if you've heard, Danny, but I'm officially a basketball content creator now.
You are now. I mean,
I put out 2 TikToks on NBA Pick'ems, and I actually hit mine yesterday. So
good shit,
3 TikToks, but I hit mine yesterday. Yeah. And you're officially allowed to speak about basketball now on this channel.
Yeah, Moose, you a Lakers fan? Let's go, bro. Let's go, dude. Luka's doing everything but scoring the basketball right now. Like his defense has actually looked decent. Like he's rebounding extremely well. He's averaging like 8 or 9 assists per game, but like he's shooting like 50% true shooting right now. Lakers are relax. At least I didn't fucking say the Celtics. Fuck the Celtics.
Facts. Also, I mean, you guys, Moose and Danny, you guys gotta bond over your Lakers when the Cowboys and Yankees and Kentucky Wildcats aren't doing well. So
relax. It was nice to know you're a TikToker when the dance is coming. Ooh, sad wolf noises. Yeah, rip the T-Wolves, by the way. That was tough. Yeah, he legit is looking like a tall Westbrook right now. He can't shoot anything. Yeah, trust. Once he bounces back, Lakers are looking good. Also, so many people are like, "Oh, what are they? Like I gotta hear fucking Tim Bontemps on the Windy show." It's like, "Oh, I don't know what to make of the Lakers." You know, like Jackson Hayes is like still their starting center. I don't believe anything in them. It's like
one like. They have. I'm officially taking back my previous statement about you're allowed to talk.
I just needed to say that. Like Tim Bontemps, like, oh, they're not going to go anywhere with Jackson Hayes as their center. It's like, yeah, the guy that's averaging 20 minutes a game in a predominantly small ball fucking team with the Lakers, who have been a top 2 defense in the league across the last 20 games.
Yeah, you're yelling at nobody right now, dude. You're doing the fake.
Yeah, dude, I'm fucking Canadian. I'm sorry if Kobe Bryant makes an impression on a Canadian kid. When the Raptors are fucking dogs. Yeah, like obviously when I was younger, I was watching who was on my fucking TV. And if Kobe Bryant was out there fucking playing like the Black Mamba himself, I'm going to be gravitated toward it. You can yell at 7-year-old Danny. Fuck.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
That kid's
if
an
you'd like to
asshole.
know, Aaron, he also is a Boston Red Sox fan, a Montreal Canadiens fan, a Kentucky Wildcats fan. He just like literally looked up who had the most championships when he was 7 years old. So,
Bro, I don't understand why that. Like, I'm Canadian. Like literally, other than fucking
cheer
hockey,
for
which
Toronto, dude. We got plenty of teams.
my whole family was fucking Leafs fans. That's why I became a Habs fan.
Gross. Gross.
No.
Anyway.
I'm Italian, so Juventus. But
Anyways, we could probably close this thing out. We're getting off the rails at this point.
Yeah, yo, Sean, chill, bro. Who's knocking them in the first round? You think Houston's gonna come to fucking LA and beat them?
We're shutting it down now.
Hey, OKC, UFC, KFC, Lakers in 5.
Get out of here. Okay, let's rein this in. For those of you guys that want more Dynasty stuff and less Lakers stuff, we'll have you covered for everything. We got Dynasty rookie rankings up to date, Dynasty startup rankings up to date, Dynasty trade value chart coming today or tomorrow, whenever Danny ends up getting his rookies in there. And we will have trade targets by position. I will be doing that tomorrow. I am going to Mexico for the entire month of March. So you won't see very many videos of me with this background for the next little bit, but I will be doing other stuff from Mexico there. So we'll still have you covered for content, but I'll have a different background. But yeah, where was I going with this? Oh, second edition of the Dynasty Rookie Draft Guide. Danny's getting a Lakers jersey. I hate it. But yeah, check out the site for all the content there. And the prospect model is going to go through some updates once the prospects test, which it looks like nobody is testing. So maybe we'll wait until after pro days to put that stuff in. And then team reviews, buy, sell, hold reports. You get those for free when you sign up annually over on the site with code FSE. And Danny's bringing his disgusting friggin'
This one
Lakers
just ended up
jersey here.
being a rip. So rip AD because he's, obviously gone.
Tough scene.
But
you can get your DH gate money back later.
No, that's a real jersey, sadly. And then we got 2 Kobe jerseys just chilling here. Shout out the Fire.
Yeah, it's not a vacation. I'm gonna be working, like I'm gonna be grinding prospects and working the whole time I'm there. I'm literally bringing my PC there. It's just that
he just gets to do it on the fucking beachfront, you know?
Yeah, exactly. We're going there, staying at an Airbnb. I'll be back late March, and it's a nice little side get out. Like if I could show you the weather in this country for the last friggin' month, you'd be like, oh, you have 11-foot snowbanks outside your house. I'd be going to Mexico too.
Yeah, no, respectful. Yeah. Every time I've seen Timothy comment, he just did something like that. That's like a little shade at me somehow, like on the stream. So
how do you like the Cowboys, man? I don't know why that just made me laugh. Dude, let's get Danny to show us all his Red Sox gear and Habs gear next.
Fuck. All right.
Anyways, we'll head
by the way, shout out when I was 11 years old and Max Pacioretty threw me a puck at the first game that I've ever been to, wearing my little mini Habs jersey back. Yeah, but actually, I might have been 12. It might have been 2012. Actually, I think it was for my 12th birthday, so that makes sense.
When a guy who got smoked into the boards is his best memory is the guy that throws you the puck. That's the best. I mean,
he's a perennial 30 goal scorer in his prime, man. That guy was fucking respect Max Pacioretty.
I mean, Leaf great, if I'm being honest. Maple Leaf great. So we'll take it.
How's he even been playing this year?
He's been a role player. That's pretty much what he is.
Yeah,
but yeah, also MM early 1 this next year and late 2 for Marv. I'm taking Marvin all day. They weren't airing any Blackhawks games in Canada. I mean, we have hockey. We dummied you guys in hockey, if you remember correctly. The
Blackhawks?
Canada versus the US.
Oh, right. Yeah, no.
We always win in hockey.
Well,
hockey teams, you not cheering for the Leafs is the worst one for sure.
So for obviously, like, what's the year that you like actually become conscious as what age were you when you first became conscious in picking your own team? Because obviously, like when you're like 1 to like 3, you don't actually have your own conscience. Like
my opinion is this: you should pick the team in your area. Or the team
I disagree.
And siblings and family members cheered for.
See,
That's my thing. And the reason I'm a Bucks fan is because we don't have any teams in our area. No one in my family likes football. So that team I got to pick. And I was 6 years old when I was playing Madden 03. And
I think you pick your team based
in the game.
I think you pick your team based off who makes the biggest impression of you at a young age.
Which is how I became a Bucks fan, because they won the Super Bowl, my first football memories, and their Madden team defense was disgustingly good.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying it like there's no like concrete age, but I'm almost somewhere between like the age 5 to 8 range is when you become more conscious of it, I would say. And like some of my earliest memories, like as a football fan, were around the time I was 6 years old, because that was around the time that Romo had the fumble against the Seahawks. That was around the time that the Giants beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl. And obviously, like yours might be a couple years earlier because you're a couple years older than me. Like, if you ask me something about 2002, I can't personally recollect it.
My first game that I watched of football, to my recollection, was the 2002 NFC Championship game when Tampa Bay, who was the red team, because I was 4 or 5 years old or whatever.
That's what I mean.
Shut down Veterans Stadium and beat Tampa Bay. And I saw Rondé Barber running down the sidelines pointing at his jersey. And I was like, that's my favorite player. That was my first like football memory as a kid. And that's why I'm a Bucs fan.
Well, and that's why I think, especially when you're Canadian, it's like you gravitate to what left an impression on you at a young age. And that's always been my stance on sports in general. I don't think like, obviously, like if you're from Washington, D.C., like, and you want to be a Capitals fan because you have access to the games there, that's one thing. But it's like, I'm not just going to be a Leafs fan because I have fucking 7 Leafs fans in my family. I'm going to watch.
But you also have access to the games. You're less than an hour away from the stadium.
I guess, but like when I watched them, I never got the vibe that this is the team I want to root for.
Yeah, well, I mean, they weren't good, so that helps. I mean, when I was a kid, you were a little too young to remember the Matt Sundin days as well.
No. The Sundin days were about the days I remember when I was younger because my uncle was a Leafs fan. And then when I started actually like completely following hockey, I mean, part of it why I became a Habs fan was I obviously am from Hamilton. The Hamilton Bulldogs at the time were the Habs farm team. So I actually watched Carey Price, PK Subban, Max Pacioretty all play for Hamilton, so that when they ended up playing for Montreal, like it was easy for me to root for them too.
Yeah, that's definitely fair. But anyways, we'll head off of here.
Fuck
major Expos fan. Yeah. Anyways, we'll head off of here. Appreciate you guys for joining us. Check out everything on the site, and we'll have you covered for trade value chart update tomorrow, as well as a trade targets by position as well. And I will be very soon out of this cold ass country that we call Canada, and I'll be
keep rubbing it in.
I will keep rubbing it in. But yeah, appreciate you guys for joining us. Take it easy. Enjoy the combine.